Welcome to our Feature Flags series, Part 3. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to our Feature Flags series. In today's video, we are going to add a utility method in our flag class and the ability to deal with multivariate flags. But let's start writing the tests for the version we have worked in our last video. In this first describe block, we are going to write two tests. One for checking if the loader is being called correctly according to a given interval, and another to check if it is being called just once when auto-refresh is off. The mock loader variable is going to be used by all tests in this describe block. We are using the Vitest hook function before all, which means before all test cases, to call use fake timers. This function mocks the function set and clear interval. We can then force time advance, which is good to keep unit tests fast. For each test case, we are using Vitest to create a mocked loader function. But we need to restore the mocks after each test case since we want to count the number of times the loader is being called. And after all tests of this block, we must go back to use real timers. We are using an interval of 5 seconds, but keep in mind that it could be any arbitrary value since we are controlling time. Here, we are using the mocked loader instead of a real one. The Vitest mock calls is an array of arrays containing all the arguments used for each call. So it means that the length of this array represents the number of times the function has been called. And then we advance time to check if the loader is being called as expected. In this second test, we expect the loader has been called just once by the start method. So we expect that the length of mock calls remain unchanged. Now, let's use Lerna to run the tests. Okay, it seems we are good so far. And now we are ready to add tests for the getFlag method. We are going to use a describe block for testing the other methods so we can share some mocking functions. First, let's start with the user groups, the same way we did in our last video when testing the package types. As we are going to mock the loader, we can ignore the environment since we are returning the groups directly. Here, we can see one of the advantages of injecting the loader in our factory static method. We can test it in another set of test cases and simply mock it here, considering that it will work as expected. Before all tests, we are going to create our flag client object with auto-refresh set to false. Let's now create a describe block to group the tests of the getFlag method. First, we are testing if the flag is returning correctly for each user group. Now, we add two tests, one for a non-existent flag and another for a non-existing group. Note that I'm using the optional chaining operator here, since getFlag can return undefined if the flag doesn't exist. We can use Lerna again to run the tests. So it seems we are good here, and our next step is going to add a utility method to check directly if a flag is enabled or not. This new method will basically call getFlag and return the flag's status. In case getFlag doesn't find a flag, it must return false. Now, let's add some tests to cover this method. We are going to check when the flag is enabled, when it's disabled, and when it doesn't exist. In this case, it should return false. Let's run our tests. Okay, we are good here and ready to do the last part of this video. Until now, the flag's content had only the Boolean property enabled. But it can be interesting if we could pass any additional values with the flag. For instance, we could pass values for subflags or configuration data. For that, we are going to add the property value into our flag's content. We are using optional here because we don't want to force it for all flags. And to allow any content, like an object, a string, or a number, the type will be unknown. The only limitation here is that we are not able to check if all flags groups are using the very same structure for value. We could add some type checking mechanism, but let's keep our solution simple for now. Let's rebuild once more to update our dependencies. And now we are good to review our test case. First, we need to add the property value into our mocked groups. I'm using here an arbitrary object, but it could be anything. Now, we just need to deep compare with the flag content returned by getFlag. Let's see if the tests are passing using Lerna. Seems we are good here. But before finishing this video, let me show you how we can use Lerna to publish our packages. We must have our project already in a remote repository. In fact, Lerna has options to ignore Git tagging and pushing, but we are not covering this today. So, let's first commit and push our changes and check our repo. You see that our part 3 is already here, and note the tags created by Lerna for the previous videos. Okay, now we need to install Verdaccio so we can publish our package locally. To install it, you can just follow its installation guidelines. As I have it already installed, I'm showing the same steps I did. After the installation, you must run Verdaccio. Note the package version in my local registry. But before publishing, we need to add a user and set the registry for our scoped name. Now, we can simply use the Lerna command publish. We can then choose the version and confirm. The local registry should be updated, and a new tag should appear in our repo. That's it. Now we could install the packages as dependencies for any other local project, but we will cover this in another video. And if you want to know more about how to install a npm package using Verdaccio as a local registry, click on the info button in the top right corner of your screen or check the link in the description below. Okay, we are done for today. But in our next video, we are going to add a useful utility method to get the feature to run, depending on the flag status. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next video.